Good morning and welcome everyone. Hope you are having a great experience at the Now 2020 virtual conference. My name is Lisa Reichard. I am the Career and Professional Development Lead in People and Organization Development, and I'm on the planning committee for this year's Now conference, and we're just so thrilled that you are all here with us and hope that you are enjoying all the activities to help you envision your future. So I want to welcome you to this session, which is called Envision Your Bold, Big, and Bad Career, presented by Vaneese Johnson-The Boldness Coach. Let's just jump in and get started. And I'm just so thrilled and excited to introduce our presenter, Vaneese Johnson, the Boldness Coach, who is a global leadership coach, keynote speaker, a brand strategist, and author. She teaches, empowers, and challenges professionals to step into their bold, big, and bad and up-level their career choices and successes with intention, ownership, and self-direction. As a powerhouse possibility creator and transformation instigator, Vaneese teaches and emboldens today's professionals through her proprietary success fundamentals of branding out loud daily, bold, building in your genius, big, and being branded and distinctive, bad, to accentuate their professional presence with authenticity and authority while making a purposeful impact in the world. Her strategic approach allows clients to better connect their talents, skills, and values across diverse groups and industries, resulting in relevant high-impact engagement. Vaneese's credentials include Certified Career Management Coach, Personal Brand Strategist, Online Brand Strategist, Small Business Advisor, Career Transition Coach, 360 Administrator and Interpreter, and Crucial Conversations Facilitator. Vaneese also leads workshops at UC Berkeley Global, UC Extension, Berkeley Global. And I have had the privilege of getting to know Vaneese. We've worked together on some coaching projects, some coaching gigs, and have done some training. And she is just so dynamic and so engaging. And it's been such an honor to get to know her. Vaneese, you're inspiring to me. And I just want to thank you for being here. This is Vaneese's second time presenting at the Now conference. She presented last year, and she's also coaching in Coach's Corner. So please join me in welcoming Vaneese Johnson.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lisa, for the opportunity to be here. And thank you so much for that wonderful reading of my bio. It always just kind of blows my mind to hear that back to me. So thank you so much. And I'm excited to be here with each of you. We've got 232 people in the room and continually counting. So I'm so excited that you have taken the time out of this morning to join my session. So you can see my picture and information on the background. I am not going to spend your time reading again about my background. You can look at this a little bit later because I want to save every single minute that we have together delivering this presentation to you, but also answering some of your questions at the end. You all know that this is being recorded, so here's what I want you to do. Don't try to take copious notes because you can go back and listen to this later. I want you to be present for the discussion. Also, get out your pencil, your pen, your notepad, jot down some questions that come to mind because I'm going to save some time at the end of this presentation to answer your questions. And listen, this is more than about you hearing me present to you. This is about you actually doing some work as it relates to your career. Here's what I put together for you. Yesterday, me and my team were busy pulling this together because I said, I don't want to be here just as a regular presenter. I want to leave you with the gift so that you can continue the journey of creating that career that's bold, big, and bad for you. So here's what my team and I put together. This is a workbook that you will get a link to at the end of the session. So guess what? You got to stay to the end. So you will get this link. Lisa already has it. She is going to post it at the end of the session, and it is a workbook so that you actually can put into action some of the topics that we discussed today. So I hope that you're excited about it, and let's jump in. Put your questions down in the chat. I am going to be checking with Lisa periodically to see what questions are there. And we're going to scan through some of the questions when I leave us about 10 minutes towards the end of the presentation to answer. Unfortunately, we can't get through everyone's questions, so we're going to try our best and randomly pick some questions, and hopefully yours will be one. So let's jump into it. All right, so here's what we're going to be talking about today. So waiting for my screen, of course, to, to pop up. So we're going to be talking about you. This session is about you. We're going to be discussing the what ifs. We've got to live in the space of possibilities so that we can prepare ourselves to be open for what could possibly be next. We're going to talk about envisioning your new career future. Yes, the world is still revolving. Life is still happening. That means the future is still coming. And then I'm going to close it out with a bold, big, and bad success blueprint so that you can start putting things into action. Grab your coffee, grab your pen, grab your paper. Let's get into it. So here's the deal. I don't know about you, but I'm about ready for some things to change, especially with what's happening in the world now. And one of the things that I want to do in my career is make more money. I don't know if anybody else on here wants to make more money. If you do, you are in the right place. And if you don't worry. I can be here to accept what you don't want. So just give it over this way. So I am here celebrating you and all of the success that you've had so far in your career. Yes, you have had some amazing successes in your career up until this point. That's great and that's amazing. But we are not stopping here with the success. We are going to keep going to the next level. So take some time, celebrate yourself, acknowledge your accomplishments and achievements as you get ready to step it up to the next level. So anybody feeling like this right about now? Where your career is happening to you, you're like, I don't know what's going on. All kind of balls I'm juggling, trying to keep things up in the air, keep things afloat. And what happens typically is our career happens to us, which means we are in reactive mode versus proactive mode. So I really want you to stop and ask yourself that question. Is your career happening to you versus you happening to your career? Today is the day that you get to do a shift. Today to now is when you get to do a shift so that you can start happening to your career and stop it from happening the other way around. And I'm going to give you some techniques. So I'm not going to Pollyanna this for you and say, wave this wand and everything will be okay. I wish. But it's time to pivot. Yes, that is probably the word of the summer, right? Of the late spring and the summer. It's all about pivoting. No different with your career. So let's get into the what ifs. I want you to take a moment and I really want you to start thinking about, brainstorming about the what ifs in your life. What if you were to get that promotion? And what if you were actually able to step into the role and do the work that your heart has been desiring to do? What if you were actually able to take your talents, your gifts, your skills, and serve others? What if you were actually able to be happy and look forward to coming to work every day because you are living in your zone of genius? What if? Here's why this question is so important to answer. When we get into the space of what ifs, it allows us to dream. And I'm going to be the first one to tell it on myself that sometimes when life is happening, when my career is happening to me, I lose the sight of dreaming about what is possible in my career. And when we don't dream, guess what? We get in robotic mode. We just wake up, do, repeat. Wake up, do, repeat. Wake up, do, repeat. Anybody in that space right now where they're waking up, doing, repeating, waking up, doing, repeating? I want you to take some time and to think about what is possibly next for you in your career. You're in an amazing educational institution. There are tons and tons of opportunities that possibly might be in your dream space. So spend some time and start thinking about what if you were to pursue what's next for you. Let's envision the possibilities. Get clarity on your career goals. It's time to make some new career goals. Okay, listen. Have things been going the way that we thought they would go? No, because I'm sure at the beginning of the year, just like everyone else, you had some goals and now things have changed. But it doesn't keep you from creating new goals. It doesn't keep you from getting clear about your current career goals and what your future goals might need to be. Reconnect with your why. Why are you doing the work that you're doing now? Why are you in the role that you're in? Why are you on the career trajectory that you're on? What is your why? And here's the reality. I want to keep it real with you. We got to pay bills. No one gets to live on this planet for free without responsibilities on whatever level those responsibilities are. So let's put that aside. Let's really connect with our purpose, our passion. What is your why? And maybe you haven't been asking yourself this question. Perhaps you have just been going along to get along. But now is the time for you to ask yourself, what is my why? Why am I doing this? Why is this still important to me? And why am I not doing what is important to me? And why am I not doing what could serve me and serve others a little deeper and richer? So let's go with envisioning, right? Use your career vision as your success barometer. One of the things I'll tell you that's in this workbook, we're going to talk about career vision in a moment, but one of the things that's in the workbook that I've created for you is a template for you to create your career vision. You got to have a vision of where you're going. Otherwise, you're just going to end up someplace. And I don't know about you, but let me just put my hand up. There have been times I've ended up places in my career, and I ended up in a place, and I'm like, how did I get here? But by the time I asked that question, I was so knee deep into that role or that work until I couldn't see the top of how to get out. So I learned from that moment that having a career vision is important. You might say, well, what needs to go in a career vision? There are two components that need to go into a career vision. You need quantitatives, times, dollar amounts, a time frame, a dollar amount. You've got to have that in your vision, right? How much by when? And also qualitatives. That speaks to the type of work that you see yourself doing. That speaks to the type of people that you see yourself leading or working with. That speaks to the way that you're going to help other people with your talents and gifts. So you've got to have a career vision for your success barometer. Otherwise, you're just going to end up someplace. And then you need to have a team of brand ambassadors to champion your career efforts. Listen, this is not a one-person show. You need the help and support of others because you can only be one place at a time. And we're going to talk about how those ambassadors can become champions for you to help support your career vision. But here's the reality. If people don't know what you're dreaming about, if people don't know the direction of where you're taking your career, how are they going to support you with your goals and your efforts? There's an old saying, I'm from the South. I was born and raised in Louisiana. And I don't know if this is a Southern saying or just a typical saying. Closed mouth, don't get fed. So let's look at executing the possibilities. What will this look like? The first thing I want you to do is to change your mindset. Treat your career like a business. You might say, what does that mean, treat my career like a business? Just stop for a second. You have a product, which is your skill set. And you have some value with that skill set that can solve problems for your current employer. You are a brand by yourself. So when you treat your career like a business, you've got to pay attention to what's changing in the marketplace, what's changing in the industry that you're in, what's changing in the profession that you're in. We've seen businesses morph just over time periods of our lives. I mean, I'm going to do a throwback for a second. How many of y'all remember Montgomery Wards? I might be dating myself. I can't really see your hands right now because it's so many of you here. But thank you. Look, people are raising their hands. Thank you for raising your hands. So I'm glad that I'm not alone dating myself. So here's the problem with Montgomery Wards. I remember Montgomery Wards all the way when I was a little girl, all the way back in the South till when I moved to California. And I remember when I went to go buy my first sofa. You know, I went to Sears and I went to Montgomery Ward's. And Montgomery Ward's was known to have some of the best furniture, right? So I went to Montgomery Ward's, and I remember I was all fancy, y'all. I remember getting my little love seat, but actually it was a couch, but it was a recliner couch. And it had a recliner on both sides, and in the middle, it had the little pull out that you could let down, and you know, you could keep your remote control there, and you could sit your beverages there. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. And they were fancy at that time. They had a plug because they had a massager in the couch. Oh my goodness. You know, that was so impressive. And I was so proud of myself that I had upgraded my life to that level, you know, of furniture, right? But when I went back to when I got my next home, and I said, oh, I love this furniture so much, till I wanted to go back to Montgomery Ward's, and I was going to take it even further and outfit my house with furniture from Montgomery Ward's. They were closed. And it was like, wait a minute, what happened? Montgomery Ward's was like a staple. It was an American institution, furniture staple, at least a seller, right? Furniture seller stapler. What happened? Well, guess what? While Montgomery Ward's was selling furniture, serving their customers, rightfully so, they were not making the shift in the times to meet the demands of this new emerging consumer. So by the time that they picked their head up out the sand, they were out of business. So the competition had taken them over. And guess what? They're no longer there. I'm not saying that you're going to evaporate and that you are going to poof, be gone. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that you've got to pay attention to what's happening in your industry, in your profession, so that when you start to enact those goals, when you start to dream in the what ifs, then that means that you know what's going on and you know what's going to be important for you to be competitive in the industry. You say, well, what's the reverse of that? So Vaneese, if I don't treat my career like a business, what's the possibility, worst thing that could happen? You can become what we call a commodity. You say, what's a commodity? That means that you're not different. There's no specialness there. There's no uniqueness there. A commodity is we can get what you offer any other place for a bargain price. And I don't know about you, but my skill set is not up for a bargain discussion or deal. So treat your career like a business. Stay on top of what's in your industry and your profession so that you can start to be able to realize how to increase the value of what you bring to the marketplace so that you're in alignment with the industry goals is going, and you make sure that you're on top of your vision. So here's the reality. Okay, Vaneese, I am where I am today, and that sounds good, but what do I do next? I want you to think about, where is your career headed at the UC system? You know, stop for a moment and think about that. What's next for you? Yes, there's challenges that's happening all around us. We're all a part of that. I don't want you to stop planning your career, your goal. So you see my little friend here, my T-Rex right there, he is about to go into that maze, or she's about to go into that maze. But before they get into there, it's kind of like, where is this headed? Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in this pattern. And I'm not asking any of you to raise your hand, but some of you may be in that space right about now where you're like, I'm feeling like I'm caught up in a maze with my career, and I don't know which direction that I should be heading. Before you enter, get your vision straight, so that way you can be able to get some clarity. Sorry, that went really, really quick, right? Okay, let's continue on. So let's talk about the mission. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Know the why of your career choice or career destination. What problems will your skills solve? Who will benefit from your contributions? This may take a moment for you to think about. And I encourage you, in times of reflection after this conference, or when you get the workbook and you start, going through the workbook, that's a good time for you to stop and really, really give it some thought. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I can be so busy doing for other people and serving other people until I don't take the time out to really, stop and think about myself and what's important for me and what's next for me. I'm going to encourage you to do that. And the workbook has a template in it that you can fill out as well that'll help you to perhaps kind of get there. But before you use any tool, you've got to answer these questions for yourself. Here is a mission statement example. I use my talents of communication, strategic thinking, and envisioning to help high achieving professionals find their level of bold to amplify their brand, grow their career, and impact the world. So that is an example of a mission statement, right? So here's the deal. Let me just do this disclaimer. This is what I do for a living. So the example that I put up in front of you isn't one that just kind of poof, I pulled out of the sky with the client. This is an example that it took us some back and forth discussion. It's taken us some back and forth conversation, to narrow it down. But here's the bottom line. This answers the question of why this person is doing what they do and how is it making a difference in the world. So get clear about your mission statement. The vision, you've got to know the direction. Know the direction, timeline, compensation, skills required, and the impact of your vision. We were all put on this planet, in this universe, to make an impact. Everyone's impact is different. Thank goodness. It's like all of us have a unique fingerprint. But I really want you to think about the direction. Are you going the way that you want to go? Is this where you saw yourself? And on the timeline, I hear so many times clients say to me that I didn't think at this point in my career I would still be here. Is that the question, that the conversation you're having with yourself? Is that the question that you're bringing up? I'm still here. And compensation. I hear a lot of people that are frustrated because they're like, I'm not getting paid the value that I'm worth. Listen, I know that there are compensation structures in place. So those things have policies and guidelines by which they follow. However, it doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunity to ask for what you want and or position yourself for the highest compensation level possible, either in the current position you're in or what you're going after next. But you've got to have a vision of what that looks like. It would be nice if somebody just showed up and tripped and stumbled and then they dropped the level of compensation you want on your lap. It doesn't work like that, right? And skills required. No doubt you are intelligent, you are talented, no doubt you are an amazing professional. But here's the reality. There comes times when we need to update our skill sets. Let me do a throwback for you guys. So, you raised your hand before, so I know you can interact with me on this. By show of hands, how many of you remember when we used to use phrases like this? Data entry. Anybody remember that? Yes. Look at that. Click, 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 click. Y'all remember when we used to put on our resume and be so proud that we could do data entry? What about word processing? Remember when word processing was like gold? If you could do word processing, word perfect was the thing, right? Before Word got that, word perfect was the thing, right? I remember I used to work at Manpower in downtown San Francisco on California Street, 50 California. And I remember working there, and that was a hot request because we used to staff for UCSF. And they were like, oh, we need somebody with Word, somebody who could do PowerPoint, somebody who could do Excel. So yes, in that time period, those things were so hot. Nowadays, your 2-year-old probably can put together a PowerPoint. And that's no disrespect to you at all. But it's just that it's so common now, it doesn't have the level of value. So I really want you to look at your industry so that and the profession so that you can really check and see, am I in alignment with the skills that's in demand with the market? Now you might say, well, how do I even find out that, that my skills are even in demand, or perhaps the skills are old? So one of the things that you can do to check, what the market is buying right now and what's hot in the market in your industry and profession. I love this site, Indeed.com. So Indeed.com. So Indeed.com is a site that you can go to, and you can type in your current role right now in the UC system, and you can see what is the market, what type of job descriptions are out there, what type of skills are they looking for, what type of problems, are these employers really, they want to hire people to solve for them. So that's important. You also can type in, go to UC Berkeley's HR department, and you can just peruse through the openings. I'm sure you can access that online, right? But peruse through some of the openings and start reading the different job descriptions in your industry, in your department, or maybe in departments that you are really considering pursuing opportunities in. Read those job descriptions. Look to see what skills that they are requiring and look at the current skills you have. Now you might say, well, Vaneese, okay, I've got, the other department wants these skills. However, in the current role that I'm in, I'm not doing that. How can I engage and use develop the skills or strengthen the skills, with the current work that I'm doing now? So here's what I would recommend that you can do to be able to upgrade your skills and kind of start to put things into use or develop that skill a little bit more. Look for opportunities in your current position where you can use the skills. Volunteer, create a project, that's in alignment with the department's goals. We don't want you to be some renegade now, doing your own thing, but create, some projects where you can use those skills, where you can up level with those skill sets. That's going to be really important because you are going to be happier in doing the work that you're doing because you are using the skill set that you want to build. And hopefully that skill set and the output of that skill set will bring some value to your current role. So look for opportunities to strengthen those skills. I know I've been talking with Lisa. I know that the UC system is opening up lots of workshops, for us to be able to really take advantage of. So this is a good opportunity as you're putting together your career vision to look for those workshops, look for those classes that you can take that will strengthen your skill set. All of this is going to impact your vision. So I hope I've given you some nuggets so far that you are like, wow, this can help me move a little bit further with the vision, the area of my career vision. So here's a vision statement example. In the next 3 years, I will become the director of marketing, earning $175K annually and working with the extended education division of UC Berkeley, where I will be leading a progressive marketing team of savvy professionals throughout the Western region. We will design cutting-edge social media campaigns targeted to increase program enrollment. Let me do my disclaimer again. This was after working, hand in hand with the client to help them to narrow this down. Excuse me. And guess what? This is in the workbook. So the template is in the workbook and they're color coded because the colors mean something. So let me just break this down for you. And I want to check my time because I want to make sure I leave some time at the end because I definitely want to answer as many questions as I can get to, right? So when I mentioned to you earlier about your career vision, you needed 2 things, quantitatives and qualitatives. Quantitatives, 3 years. You said, well, why is it important to have a quantitative with a time frame of 3 years? Guess what? Chop, chop, let's get it done. Because when you give yourself a time frame and a shorter time frame, it will press you into a sense of urgency. If you say, well, in the next 10 years, this is what I'm going to do. 10 years seems so far away, but it's really not. But if you tell yourself in the next 3 years, or it might be the next year, it depends on, how aggressive you are with your career goal and how close you are to what's needed to make that career goal happen for you. May not be the same for everyone, right? But I'm going to encourage you, don't give yourself so much time far away that it will let you off the hook with doing the work that needs to get done. In the green, it has director of marketing. You've got to call a thing a thing. Give the title of what you're going after so that this is what I'm going after. It also will keep you focused on the role of the director, the skill sets required of the marketing director. And when you are networking with people, then that will help them to keep an eye out for you for opportunities that are in alignment with what you want. How many times have people come to you, by raise of hands, you guys, how many times have people come to you and said, I want to work at UC Berkeley, and you ask them, what do I want to do? And then they don't have a clue. Anybody had that before? Right? I see it firing up. I see the hands firing up. So just imagine if that were you on that side, right? So you always say, people ask me and say they want to work at UC Berkeley, but when I want to help them, I don't know how to help them because they don't know where they want to go. So this is why it's important for you to have that title, have that role. Now, let me say this. I don't want you to say, be stuck and hard on a title and say, this is it, right? That might not be what the title is called for that particular job. However, connect the dots with something around a title or the role, so that when you are telling other people, they know how to support you. And equally important, you know what you're focusing on and what you're going after. The next one in the blue, 175K annually. Listen, you got to know how much money you want to make for your career. You got to know. And am I saying that you could hit it at the park and hit this 175? I don't know, because there are some variables with that. Your goal is to position yourself to get out of that commodity zone, treat your career like a business, make sure that you are building the skill sets, make sure that you are leveraging those skill sets in your current role or projects or volunteer opportunities where you can build and strengthen those skills, so that that potential employer can find the value and you can bargain at the highest level possible. If that person doesn't hit that 175, if they're making 125 and they hit 150, it's still just as good. It's still a win, but you got to have a number to pitch for, right? And then the extended education division of UC in the orange color, this is really exactly where is it that you see yourself working? What department is that? And then also it says leading a progressive marketing team. If leadership is in your future, who do you want to lead? What's the name of the team? And then a division or area. Maybe it's just your area, or maybe it's regional, maybe it's national, perhaps it's international, right? And then you want to look at what is the value. The value you want to do is increase program enrollment. And that could be a number of activities around what you can do as a director of marketing with a savvy progressive team, right? There could be a number of things that you can do to increase the program enrollment. We're not limited to that. So by show of hands, you guys, how many of you think this has been valuable so far? So by show of hands. Look at that. It is firing up. If I had a penny. I'm so happy. Wait till we start doing these questions. I want you to make sure that you are posting on LinkedIn, that you are tweeting, that you are Facebooking. Give a shout out to this conference because I think this is so valuable. And now more than ever, so many of you have the opportunity to attend this conference that I didn't get a chance to meet last year. So it is so nice to meet you virtually. But, keep it going and let's dig a little bit deeper, right? All right, cool. So let's predict your success. Let's talk about your bold, big, bad blueprint, right? And I don't know about you, but I like to predict success as much as I can based on how I'm planning. So you want to get your personal brand straight. So let's dive into talking about personal branding. Personal branding is the practice of people marketing themselves and their careers as brands. Personal branding is essentially the ongoing process of establishing a prescribed image or impression in the minds of others about an individual. Here's the reality. Let's go back to treat your career like a business. You are You Incorporated. It's your responsibility to market yourself. So some of you might be saying, well, I don't want to do the bragging because I think that's bragging, Vaneese, and this is not bragging, this is marketing. When you are strategic in the information that you are sharing and you're strategic about how that information brings value to the people you work with, the people you serve, then that is marketing. I see a lot of hands coming up on this one, right? So I want you to get into the mindset of, I need to market myself. Otherwise, how are people going to know you? If a lot of products that you buy, if we don't see the marketing on those products, we don't even know that they're there. What good does it make for a company to produce a product or create a service without letting the people who their target customers are, letting them know that this person, this product, these skills, these talents are available? So get your mind wrapped around that. You need to market yourself. Leverage your network. I mean, let's face it. I talked earlier about brand ambassadors. This is the perfect way for people for you to leverage your network and for people to get out and to help you. Oops, let me go back. For people to get out and help you. You got to network with LinkedIn. I don't know about you, But LinkedIn is still one of the most valuable professional online networking tools in the universe. Show of hands. How many of you are using LinkedIn right now to network? So show of hands. Right. Thank you for, yes. So when I say use LinkedIn, I'm not talking about going on LinkedIn and just kind of like get your coffee, you sipping and perusing and looking at what people are doing. I'm talking about you actually connecting with people on LinkedIn. If there are people in a department that you see yourself working in, reach out and connect with those people, look them up in the directory, do an intro, and you can even blame it on me. You can say, Vaneese, the boldness coach, told me that it's important for me to leverage my network, and you are a person on my list, so I am stepping into my boldness to connect with you. Please do me the honor. So leverage your network. You've got your internal network and your external network. These are people that know people that you don't know. These are people that are connected to other individuals who may be decision makers, who may be influencers. So as you're writing out your career goals, as you're writing out your career vision, as you are claiming and owning your career mission, then you've got to share it with your network. So let's get in a little bit deeper on this, right? What your network could possibly look like. Develop a career board of directors. Everybody needs this. If you don't take nothing else from this conversation today, I want you to create a career board of directors, right? You say, what does that consist of? Get sponsors. You say, well, wait a minute, what's a sponsor? A sponsor is somebody who will bring you along with them or invite you along with them, for events. They're going to sign you up and they're going to say, you are a guest of mine. So that is a person who, when career opportunities come up, they keep your name top of mind and they look for opportunities so that they can invite you. You can also tell your sponsor, hey, I am looking for opportunities in these areas. If you hear of any events that are happening in this area, would you mind sending me a link to it? Can I be your guest? So you want to make sure that you've got a sponsor and that somebody who will be a champion for you to make sure that you get these invitations to the table and to events. Last year, I had somebody to sponsor me to go to an event at Intel. And the event, and then I got an invitation to go. Then that invitation turned into, can you be on our panel? Then that invitation turned into, can you coach our group? And a year later, that invitation has turned into, can you coach some of our clients at Toyota and at KPMG? So here's what I'm saying to you is that had I not reached out to my sponsor and told them, here's what's next for me in my career, and I need your support, and here's what I need, events, introductions, then I would have totally missed out on that in my career at this point. You want brand ambassadors. These are people that are championing your name. These are people out there that when they hear an opportunity, a project or something comes up, they think of you and they said, hey, I know somebody that might be good for this. That's how I got this opportunity to speak 2 years in a row. Lisa and I were on a project in Napa for an Australian company, and we started working together, and she couldn't speak that time. It was a calendar conflict. Then she called Terry, who now is retired, and I think Terry's doing the session today, and she did an intro, to Terry about me. But Lisa was my brand ambassador that went before me and talked about her experience of me. So you need brand ambassadors to help market, support, and promote you. And you need a mentor. Let's face it, I've been talking about putting everything together for your career vision, and you might say, Vaneese, I'm raring to go. I'm excited. I'm ready. Having a mentor to bounce things off of would be really great. And when you go to a mentor is not there to do your work for you. The mentor is not there to necessarily be your sponsor, even though sometimes they can, but it might be a conflict, right? The mentor is there as your sounding board. You need to come to the table with work done so that the mentor can support you with ideas, with strategies and techniques. So get yourself a career board of directors so that you're not doing this by your own and you are truly treating your career like a business. So let's talk about the boldness blueprint. What is the boldness blueprint? So it means brand out loud daily. Be authentic every day in every way. Here's what this means in work styles. Bring your authenticity to the work that you do, and be yourself in delivering on the work that you do. When you are yourself and bringing your own unique gifts and talents to the conversation, then you're going to be more happier doing the work that you do versus trying to be somebody else and trying to do things that other people do that is not in your wheelhouse. So can you imagine this? Look, get your hands ready for the buzzer on this one. Can you imagine that I used to get in trouble in school for talking in class? I used to get in trouble for talking in class. I used to have to write lines. So I'm dating myself again. I don't know anybody can remember that. I used to have to write lines when I was in high school. I was still writing lines from elementary all the way up to high school. I was writing lines. I would not talk in class. I would not talk in class. Here is where the boldness comes in this, is that I've got a gift to gab. I've got a gift to gab. But how that translates into my professional life is I have a gift of being a communication strategist. So every opportunity that I pursue, that opportunity needs to give me a space where I can talk. It needs to give me a space where I can be able to live in my purpose and my passion of being bold in an authentic way of communication. So find your level of bold and operate in that every day so that you can brand out loud from a place of authenticity. I want you to build in your big, build in your gifts, leverage your talents, increase your earning potentials. Stop sitting on your talents and your gifts. Some of y'all might be thinking, well, Vaneese, it might make some people uncomfortable. I don't know if I should do that. That is not your problem and not your responsibility. That's a whole nother coaching and therapy session that we don't even have time to cover. But leverage your gifts. So when I got in trouble for talking, I started getting careers where I could do customer service. So I moved from doing customer service into owning my own company, into doing coaching, into speaking on international stages, into writing my own books. So I have taken that gift and I have leveraged and increased my earning potential. That is a fantastic way to build your skill set. So live in your big, grow your talents, stop hiding them from the world. We are looking and waiting on you. Show up and show out. And then I want you to be bad. Bad is about being branded and distinctive. Here's the reality. When you are on top of your career game, you're on top of your vision and your mission, you got your career board of directors, you got your brand ambassadors. Those people are going before you. That action is going before you. And being bad should get you invitations to opportunities that are not even on your radar. It's about you managing your reputation. That's what being bad is about. Make sure every day that you are creating a reputation and managing it so that when it goes before you, it's opening those doors to opportunities that will blow your mind. So this is your boldness blueprint. We're getting ready to wind it up, everybody, so I can come take your questions, get your questions ready. So here's the deal. Envision. Take some time. Think about the future. Think about the what ifs, right? I love this picture. This is just the epitome of, wow, I'm excited. Execute. You got to do something with what we're talking about. This is not for entertainment. You got to do something, put it into action, take it to the next step, and you got to enjoy the process. Sometimes things are going to be challenging. Sometimes they're not going to come out the way that you hope that they will come out. But guess what? You get to get up, dust yourself off, and get back into the game and find the areas of joy in this process. Be in the space of ahas. I didn't know I could do that. Wow, you see that? Oh, I didn't know that was available for me. But enjoy the process. Lastly, thank you all for the opportunity. We're about to jump into some questions. So Lisa, I see that you're ready. You're almost there. But thank you so much for this time with everyone. I want you to strive and thrive in your boldness. So that is my heartbeat for you today. So Lisa, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'm going to stop sharing, and we are going to get into some questions.
All right, Vaneese, thank you. I want you to know you're just getting so many shout outs of thank you, love your energy, awesome. People can relate to your stories, your energy, so much props to you. And our first question, this is from Mike. Vaneese, have you always been bold? I have presence, charisma, and marketing in my network. But when I get to the table or the lights and camera are rolling with the fancy folks, I get shy and quiet. Any tips?
Yeah, so the answer is I had a quiet, bold Mike. And what I mean by quiet, bold is I would show up and do my thing, and only when it was asked of me to do it. But now the way that I show up in my boldness is I seek out opportunities that allow me to really own the boldness inside the room and outside of the room. So here's what I would suggest to you. Number one is get out of your head. Because people probably are looking at you to show up at a higher level than what you've been showing up, Mike. The other thing I would say is put yourself in a position where you can be in the front of the room, or put yourself in a position where you can be on the agenda so that people can experience you. And bring people more than what they are expecting to the conversation, Mike. Don't show up and just do the bare minimum. Don't show up and do just what they ask. We want you to do that too, but show up and give them the little oomph about you. Put your own kind of stamp, or exclamation point at the end of the sentence. The other thing that I'll say is, you all see my bright colors, right? Show up in your boldness. So Mike, find something that will, that's visual, that will inspire you and remind you that you are bold, big, and bad, and to bring that with you. So if that's your favorite, scarf, necklace, if that's your portfolio case, whatever that is, bring that, right? Okay, Mike, I hope that was helpful.
All right. Again, Vaneese, so many great comments. Love it. You're amazing. Fantastic presentation. Thank you. You are very bold.
Oh.
Your passion and enthusiasm. Thank you for your authenticity. Here's a question. What if we feel like our skills aren't so great in that area, or in the area we want to move into? Any advice in general for wanting to make radical career shifts?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? In this time period, the radical shift that you can make is take classes. There are so many classes online now that you can do. Take classes so that, number one, you can get a deeper understanding of the skill itself and where the skill is applied. The second thing that you can do is find an opportunity to volunteer so that you can actually execute that skill. So it's even online, right? In this environment, there are a lot of institutions, organizations, programs that are being developed to better serve people or to better get the product out there. So look for opportunities where you can start to put those skills into action. And then as you're in the flow of using that skill, see how it feels to you. Does this feel right here in your heart? Does it connect up here? Do you find yourself excited about doing it? Right? And I mean this not from a place of giving up because you're like, oh, this isn't working. Sometimes we have to shift our mindset so that we can say, listen, let me make sure I'm showing up 100% and do my best. So take classes, to understand the depth of the skill, put the skill into action, and also look at the future promise of where the skill is going, because that would be helpful for you as well. And currently in your work role, find opportunities in your current work role that you can volunteer for the skill. And don't be afraid to say, listen, this is a new area of skill development for me. I'm excited to do it. I don't have it 100%, but I'm so on board with learning more about it and applying it. So that can be really helpful, in terms of how you can step and level up in that skill, in that area of skill.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see. We have, it looks like, one more question. We'll make this our last question.
Okay.
Could you say more about the difference between a sponsor and a brand ambassador?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good question. Let me just say this, Lisa, if we wasn't on the time schedule, we could hang out all day.
I know. We could
hang out all day and talk.
We could. You have so many fans here, Vaneese.
So here's what I'll say the difference. So a sponsor is someone in the organization that has experienced some of your skill sets, meaning they maybe have been in meetings with you at the table, and maybe they got introduced to you. Maybe they're from another department, or perhaps there may be 3 or 4 or 5 or some space between you and your manager and then them, right? So they're in a position of influence, number one. Your sponsor should always be a person who's in a position of influence. And number 2, the sponsor is someone that you should have a conversation with. Go to them, talk to them about your career goals, your career vision, and ask them how they got to where they are. Ask them what advice would they recommend based on the direction of where you want to go. And ask them for, opportunities, connections. Are there any events that are coming up that you think that I would, need to be at the table to, or be in the room to learn more about? Ask them for their support and their help, and say, if I were to engage your support in helping me to execute my career vision, so far I hear that you have access to some of these areas that I just can't get invitations to, or just unaware of. Would you be comfortable inviting me? And you want to keep the sponsor in the loop. So let me just say this for a second. They might not readily say, yeah, come on in, go with me, because they might be like, I don't know you, and I'm not sure if I trust you yet, or if you would impact my own brand, right? Keep them in the loop. Email them periodically. Don't let so much time pass by where they forget you. Let them know what you're doing. Show them some of your work. Build the trust and the rapport. And then offer something up for them as well. What can I do to help you on projects? Is there anything that I can give to support you in what your next goal may be? You never know. So that's what a sponsor does. Then they will keep an eye out for you, look for opportunities, look for people that's at their level of network that they can introduce you to. So I hope that gives you a little bit more deeper information on about what a sponsor is. The brand ambassador, these are people that are very well connected. Sometimes they may be in positions of influence, but they are well trusted by people that they are networked with. They are people that their opinion is valued by others. They are people that have a really solid reputation with others. And if that person were to give you a referral, then you would listen to them because you trust and value them. Lisa and I have the perfect example of that. Lisa was my brand ambassador to Terry for this opportunity. So Lisa went before me. She had an opportunity to experience my skills, me interacting, doing coaching, so on and so forth. She asked me would I be interested. Then she went on my behalf to Terry, and she basically kind of presented me and marketed me to Terry. Then the opportunity came for me to meet Terry. So I hope that was helpful in answering that question.
Very helpful, Vaneese. Lots of great comments, appreciation, thanks. People are getting so much out of this session. We have even more questions. Let's see, we have time to do one more quick one.
And Lisa, I want to make sure we put that evaluation. Hello. I want to make sure we put the link up for people to download that workbook, because I'm so super excited about it. It's like pages and pages. Oh my gosh. I think it's 11 pages, 10 pages. It's got like a career strategy plan in here. It's got some really, really cool stuff. So please go in and download that. It's free. Download it. Okay, Lisa. I put the link in there. I'm putting it in again right now. So there is the link, everyone. I also put a link into the evaluation. And let's see, while I'm pulling the evaluation slide up. Please connect with me on LinkedIn as well, everyone. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to have you in my network. I've got more than 4,000 people in my network. So there could be somebody in my network through UC that I can introduce you to, and I'm more than happy to make that introduction for you or make that connection for you. I don't know 4,000 people personally, so let me just say that.
Well, Vaneese,
yes.
Thank you so much for this big, bad, bold presentation. And I also, because you said that I could, I want to wish you a happy birthday. I want to let everybody know it's Vaneese's birthday. Happy birthday, Vaneese. And thank you for just sharing the gift of your presence here with us today at this session and coaching. It's just so generous of you to volunteer your time to be here. And thank you. And I want to thank everyone for being here, for being so engaging with your comments, with your questions. Enjoy, and thank you so much, Vaneese.
Bye, everyone. Have an amazing day. Thank you, Lisa.